Hello, I'm just going to give people a couple more seconds before we get started. If you can hear me, can you please type something in the chat bar on the right? Can anybody hear me? If you can hear me, can you just type that in the chat on the right? Perfect. So it sounds like everybody can hear me. We had about 70 something people signed up, so I'm just going to give them one more minute and then we'll get rolling. Okay, it doesn't look like we're getting a whole bunch more people, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So thank you guys so much for being able to make some time to join us for the Troop Adventure Camp Leader webinar. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about TAC and all the exciting opportunities that your troop will have at camp this summer. I will be recording this webinar. If you have any other troop leaders or know anybody else that wants to watch it, I'll probably be able to get it uploaded tomorrow or the next day. See if I can click over. So I'm Tori or Ember, and I am Camp Stonybrook's camp director. And Elizabeth Lulu Rogers is the director for Camp Libbey. Unfortunately, she's not able to make it today. If you have any questions about Camp Libbey's TAC, you can go ahead and shoot her an email. It's elizabethrogers@gswo.org, or you can write in the questions or chat log, and I'll try to answer anything that I can. In tonight's webinar, we're going to go over some basic information about TAC, look over the schedule, look over the program activities, talk about food, review the policies and procedures, discuss camp paperwork and like the job forms, how to complete it, and then answer any questions that you guys might have. So if you have questions, go ahead and type them in the chat log or the question log, and I'll get to them at the end of our session. So during tonight's webinar, we'll be referring to the TAC Manual. It's on the website, camp.gswo.org/TAC, I believe. I don't think the Libbey one has made it up there yet, but the handout is attached to the handout portion of the sidebar. So if you want to take a look at it, feel free to do so. Make sure you have the TAC Manual for the correct camp. There are some differences between Stonybrook and Camp Libbey, and make sure that you have the newest updated one that's on the website or right here. If you have one from a year or two ago, that could be different. It'll definitely be different. If you're not familiar with where the camps are located, here's a little map of our council with the camp locations and the addresses marked. Driving instructions can be found in your manual, as well as a brief description of the camp and then a camp map. Both camps are ran by our seasonal camp staff who undergo 2 weeks of pre-camp training and our high school junior instructors and junior counselors. that also attend a 4-day pre-camp training. Staff that run any specialized program areas, such as lifeguards or archery instructors, high ropes, low ropes instructors, they've also attended additional training and are certified by a nationally recognized body. Before we get super deep into the webinar, here are some important dates that you guys need to know. May 17th is pretty much the big one. That's when any of our JOT forms, that's where you select your activities. This is the date that payments are due, and your camp doc profile should be started. So the next one is 30 days before your session. If you have any cancellations or anything like that, you need to notify Debbie Santel so she can take care of you. And then the week before your session, your camp doc profile will lock if you are completed with it. So you'll no longer be able to get in there and edit. If you are only like halfway through your camp doc profile, you'll still be able to go in and fix it up. But pretty much all of the important forms and payments and everything like that you have to turn in is May 17th. Really quick, we're just going to go over some changes for 2019. If you've been to TAC before in the last couple of years, these processes might be a little bit different. So number one, the t-shirt cost is included in the price. So you don't have to worry about any of that anymore. It's already included. You don't have to collect extra money. And when you signed up, you should have submitted your t-shirt sizes on that form. If you have any changes to sizes, you can email them to Debbie. Just make sure that it's before May 17th so we can get all of those things together so we can make our order. We are changing how we do snacks. So we'll be handing out snacks each evening to all of camp after dinner. So these would be things like popcorn or popsicles, ice cream sandwiches. You don't have to pick your own snacks. The whole camp will just get the same snack. And then we've also streamlined what snacks come with your cookouts or packouts. So they'll automatically come with juice, carrots, celery, ranch, and assorted chips and pretzels. So you don't have to kind of pick all of that. It automatically comes with it. And then this design right here is the design for the t-shirt. It'll have 2019 on it somewhere. We haven't gotten that back yet. But here's our t-shirt. I'm not sure on the color, but that will be the design, as well as the patch. Okay, so your basic TAC schedule is outlined in your manual. Regardless of what session you attend at Stonybrook, check-in is always going to be from 2 to 3. So the first day will always involve kind of us double checking your paperwork, going down to your unit, dropping off your stuff, swim tests, camper council, meetings like that. And then you'll also do s'mores back in your unit before bedtime. On the first day, it's always a great idea to have a day pack ready to go that already has your swim gear, your towels, bug spray, sunblock, water bottle, and anything else that you might need so you don't have to rummage through your luggage and find it on the first day. And on the schedule, just kind of take a look at where this optional troop time activity is. This is a separate activity from your regularly picked activities. These are evening things like night hikes. So this will come in to play a little bit later. I just want you to know where that time is. And then if you're attending the 3-day TAC session, you'll still check in from 2 to 3. You'll have a few less activities than the other session, but you'll stay a little bit later, so you won't check out until about 2 p.m. And then all of this is also in your manual. And if you're going to Libbey, you're going to do a Monday to Wednesday, and that's 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start talking about activities. There's a ton of information, and there's a lot more in your manual, but this is kind of the basics. Each camp offers a menu of over 50 activities for your troop to choose from. There's lots of different categories. We have arts and crafts, nature, science, sports, team initiatives, outdoor living skills. But each camp has a slightly different menu, so double check your manual to make sure that you're picking the activities that are offered at your camp. So if you're attending Stonybrook's 4-day, 3-night, you can pick up to 10 activities plus 2 of the troop time evening activities, so that 9:15 to 10 o'clock kind of space. If you're attending a 3-day, 2-night, you can pick up to 7 activities and 1 of those additional optional troop evening activities. And then if you're attending Libbey, you can pick 8 activities. So when you're picking your activities, there's just a lot of things to kind of keep in mind. 1, have your girls vote on the activities. They'll have a lot more fun if they get to have a say on what they're doing, and they'll just be excited to like do the things that they pick. If you have a multi-age level troop, you have to pick activities that all the group members can participate in. If you're filling all, 7 to 10 activities sessions, that's a lot for younger troops. Going from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. straight, nonstop, all activities is a ton. You are able to select free time. A lot of our younger girls, especially like the daisies, brownies that come, say they wish they would have known that they didn't have to fill in all those activities. So if you think that the second night the girls are going to be really, really tired and you want to do maybe one last activity in the evening, go ahead and put free time. If you have a specific time that you know you want that for, just put it in on the job form. All cookouts, packouts count as 1 activity plus the meal, except for cold meals. So there's like a polar bear jungle breakfast, but you'll need to select cookout as an activity, and then you'll have to pick which item you want to cook out. And that will be in the job form a little bit later. We'll go through all of that. If you're attending troop camp training, you just pick troop camp training. You don't have to pick that plus a cookout, but you still need to let us know what you want to eat during your troop camp training because that's already built into the time. Keep in mind that some activities may take more than 1 time slot, and if they do, that's indicated in the manual, like the low challenge course. If you're doing an adventure canoe trip, those will take more time. Some activities have age restrictions, so double check and see if you're doing like tomahawk throwing, that's only for certain ages. Some activities like tie-dye and reverse tie-dye can be combined into 1 time slot. And remember that some activities require you to bring additional supplies. So those are bolded in the Stonybrook manual. So that's things like tie-dye. There's bandana totes, and if you're making one of the reusable grocery bag sit-upons, you'll have to bring your own items, and then we'll help fill that stuff in. Also, the troop time, those optional evening activities, have their own list in the manual. Again, those are optional. You don't have to do them, but these are things like night hikes, evening desserts, and stargazing. Pool time is always a camp favorite. Each troop automatically receives 1 swim time per full day of camp. So this means you do not need to add this as an activity. It's already plugged in. On the day that you check in, provided it's not storming, your troop will head down to the pool and do your swim test. Like I said earlier, it's a good idea to already have your swimming stuff packed into your day bag so you don't have to rummage through all your other stuff. Those who do not pass the swim test must stay in the shallow end of the pool. Everybody has to keep their swim bands on, and everybody needs to take the swim test, including the adults. If you don't take the swim test, you're automatically only allowed in the shallow end. If you're at Stonybrook's TAC, CSA troops can add on adventure trips. Some have additional costs, and you must provide your own transportation. If you decide to do ozone, you need to schedule that in advance with them and just let us know what time you're going to be there so we don't schedule anything during that time. And then if you're going to do the high challenge course or if you're going to do canoeing, we will schedule and arrange that and provide instructors for it. We do have a limited availability for the high ropes course because we're sharing it for parts of the summer with resident camp. Okay. Food is super important. This year, we have partnered with a licensed nutritionist on our menu to make sure that everything is balanced and it's colorful and it's delicious. Once we have the new menus nailed down, we'll be able to share them and post them on the website. Meals are served in the dining hall, family style. So our dining halls have tables that have 8 seats to them. So that means that not everybody in a troop will be able to, or the whole troop won't be able to sit at the same table. And we will kind of talk about that in a second. But things are served family style. There's a salad bar at lunch and dinner. And we try to keep some snacks out throughout the day if people get hungry. At Stony, these will most likely be kept in the pack-out fridge area. Let us know about any allergies in the camp doc profiles. There's also a portion in the JOT form where you can let us know of any allergies as well. And then people with severe allergies or any allergies will receive their food from the kitchen staff on the main counter. When we start our meals, we start those outside the dining hall on Singing Hill or on Singing Porch. So we kind of sing some songs while hoppers, the people who help put the plates out and serve the food, are setting up all of our tables. When they're ready, we'll make a giant buddy line. We'll send the adults in to go grab their spots because we like to have at least one adult at each table. And then we kind of sing a song as the girls and a buddy. We always like to keep the girls with a buddy head into the dining hall to find seats. So though they won't be able to sit with the whole entire troop, they should have a buddy or a truddy if you guys have an uneven number. And they can kind of meet new people while sitting with their group of friends that they have. Okay. So pack-outs are any meal that takes place outside of the dining hall. So these include your cold options like a polar breakfast or a jungle breakfast or a picnic lunch at Libbey, as well as your traditional cookouts. So you might hear pack-outs and cookouts used kind of interchangeably. A list of pack-out options is in your manual. It looks like a grid, as well as the ingredients and what comes in the pack-out. Cookouts, pack-outs can be kind of challenging for first-time campers or younger girls. So when you decide to pick a cookout, make sure your girls are ready for whatever that cookout is. And then if you have decided to do a pack-out or a cookout, you must pick that up from the dining hall. Our staff will help you like start your fire and kind of facilitate that, but the girls will be, the ones really getting that going, and they'll need to help. It won't just be the staff member doing the whole thing. The girls should be involved in the cooking. And again, cookouts count as one activity plus the meal. So instead of only having 1 hour to kind of get a whole fire and get a whole whatever you're making done, you have about 2 hours. And the only exception to that is if you have a cold pack out. So if you're doing a jungle breakfast or a polar bear breakfast, that'll just take place during that meal time. Another special part of TAC and making it girl-led are the all camp games and the themed meals. So when you come to camp or before you come to camp, you can start having this conversation, but you're going to send 2 girls as your troop representative to the camper council meeting. And this is usually the first evening of camp right after dinner, and they'll work with the other representatives to decide the themed meal and the themed games for the week. Some troops like to get really fancy, and they'll bring some like outfits. If they really think it's going to be something Disney, they might bring something Disney related with them. You don't have to. The staff, as you can see over here, will get all excited and dressed up and make it a really fun event for everyone. Okay, so that was kind of all the program stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get into rules and procedures. For a successful TAC experience, there's some basic rules and policies. There's a lot more in your TAC manual, but I'm just going to go briefly through some stuff. Remember, this is a troop activity, so you should always be following your volunteer essentials and anything else like that. And you guys should already have a copy of your troop health form with you since you're going to be transporting girls. You do not have to be lodge or troop camp trained to attend TAC. If you'd like to have a little bit more information, I would definitely recommend you maybe looking at troop trip training or troop travel training. I can't remember what it's called. And you can definitely look up lodge camp training. It's free online, but you don't have to have that. So all adults attending TAC must be registered Girl Scouts and approved. Everybody always must use the buddy system. Troops must follow ratio. If adults must share a sleeping space with girls, at least 2 unrelated adults must be there. No like flip-flops or sandals at camp, always socks, closed-toed shoes, hiking boots, sneakers, things like that. Girls may not have phones at camp. So if parents want to keep the phones at home, or troop leaders kind of collect them and store them somewhere, that's fine. Troop leaders, you guys obviously can have your phones, but please try not to like get them out and be like playing on them during meal times or stuff like that, where the girls might kind of be sad that they don't have theirs. Please make sure to report any serious accidents or injuries to the camp director immediately so that we know what's going on. When you arrive at camp, you'll receive a folder that has like a first aid log in it and incident accident forms. Make sure you're filling things like that out and turning them in so we have a record of anything odd that might have happened. During camp, a lot of the programming will be run by junior instructors. They do not count as adults. They're under 18, so you cannot, leave them alone with your girls. You need to be there supervising your troop, and then the junior instructors or the junior counselors will be leading the activity. 1 car per troop is allowed back in the tent units at Stonybrook. The buildings are close. There's not really any place to park in the buildings, and it's very close to the parking lot, so you can park there. Please make sure to back into parking spaces in case you have to leave. You don't have to worry about like backing out and looking for the kids or anything like that. You can just pull on out and head out. And then driving on camp is only allowed in case of emergency. A little bit more on like camper supervision. Like I said earlier, troop leaders, adults, are in charge of keeping ratio and supervising the group and taking care of any kind of situations that happen. Staff provide leadership for activities. There's a lot of information on behavior management in your manual that might be useful to go over. A lot of stuff about homesickness. Corporal punishment is not allowed. Some troops have rotating adults. Your rotating adult cannot, the one that's leaving cannot leave until the person who's filling in for them comes in, and then people can check in and check out at the office, which is next to the dining hall. It's kind of on the porch on the side. And then at Libbey, there's a whole admin building, which is the office. Then we're just going to go really quickly over some of the healthcare policies. Very similar to regular troop policies, at least 1 adult from each troop must be first aid CPR certified. Whoever has that certification is the primary healthcare provider for the troop. Everyone, even adults, have to fill out their camp doc profile with health history. So if anything happens, we have that information. Troops should bring, their regular health history forms and keep them on them, since most of you will be driving your whole troop to camp. And just so you have that additional information. Medications will be stored in a lockbox, and then all medications will be dispensed by the troop leader. You'll receive your lockbox and the combination when you get to camp. Emergency medications like inhalers, EPIs, stuff like that can be carried around. Don't keep them locked in the box. There is an urgent care facility right in front of camp, as well as a couple other urgent cares nearby. And instructions and directions are in the camp office. And if there is a serious emergency, please call 911 and let the camp director know so that we can start clearing roadways and stuff like that to get people where they need to be. Okay, so now we're going to get into the paperwork. I know there's a lot of questions about some of this kind of stuff. So again, this is due on May 17th to Debbie Santel. And this is located in the back of your manual. This is kind of like your updated troop roster. So if you have any, this is where you're going to put who's all coming to camp now, if there's been any changes or anything like that. I recommend filling all of this out because it will help get you some of the costs and stuff before working on your JOT form. So you'll fill out, individual's name, emergency contact information, how much the session costs. So for example, $100, we're doing canoeing, so you put $10 minus the deposit, so you already paid $10. And then if somebody has financial assistance, you kind of write that in, and that will help you generate a final payment. When we get to the JOT form, you can pay using the JOT form, or you can save this and upload it to the JOT form so that your payment information is there, or you can email this separately. There's a lot of options. But I would definitely sit down, start filling this out first before doing the activity JOT form. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the JOT form and kind of talk you through it. Again, this is all due May 17th. So I have it in a sandbox mode right now, so I can kind of go in and play with it. In the morning, Carissa is going to go ahead and take it out of sandbox mode, give it to Debbie so she could email it out and put it on the website for you guys. So here it is. It's got information, so you can who to contact if you have problems. You can call customer care. You can ask for Debbie. So you just kind of fill in your information, troop number, pick a number, include your email address, phone number. This will help our program manager if there seems to be any discrepancies or any problems with what you've put in. She'll get your list of all the activities you're going to, so if something's wrong, she'll be able to call you and get a hold of you. You'll put down what camp you're attending, so Stonybrook or Libbey, and it will give you the TAC number, so then you can pick whatever one you're going to. The living unit is the name of the unit, so like Maple Hollow. So if you can remember what your living unit is, just put it in there, and then you'll put your number of girls attending, your number of adults attending, and then if you have any rotating adults, you can put that there. You'll pick the grade level they'll be going into in the fall. So if you have girls from different age levels, you can click all of those. And then if you know off the top of your head any food allergies or special needs or anything like that that we need to know of, you can put that in here. So like make sure that you just put the name as well as whatever we need to know about it, and then if there's any severity that we need to know as well. And then this is where doing your paper form first will come in handy. So let's say what I've got 10 girls coming to camp plus 1 adult that was an extra. So let's say we've got $1,100 is my balance. So if you've already had financial assistance, you're gonna delete all of that kind of money. So maybe we had financial assistance, but whatever you end up calculating on that form, you'll just put right here. And then this is where you'll go ahead and pick your activities. So there are the instructions for what you're doing, as well as that swimming is already, included, and then any off-site stuff. Let's say I'm doing canoeing, and that counts as 3 sessions, so I'm only going to put that in the first one, but then I'm not going to fill out as many as I was going to originally. We're going to do the lows, so that also counts as 2 or 3 activities. We're going to have a cookout. We're going to do tie-dye and reverse tie-dye. free time. We're going to go on a hike. We are creeking. So you could just type in your activities. Just remember how many you're allotted. Some troops come with another troop from their service unit that they know. So if you want to do an activity with your sister troop, you can just write that information in here. If you're going canoeing, you can add whatever that total would be. So let's say you've got 10 people going canoeing, it'd be $100. And then this is where you'll pick any of those extra special things. So if you want to have a jungle breakfast, so that's a cold breakfast, so we'll do that. In the evening, I want to go on a night hike, I'll collect that. And there's also some information here. So if you are going for a 2-night session, you can pick 1. If you're doing a 3-night session, you can do 2. And then if you're doing cooking methods, you can pick whatever you want to cook. So say you picked a cookout and you want to do foil dinners, you can select that. And if you want to do like a dessert with your cooking method, you can pick that as well. Write any notes that you need right there. Okay, and now this is what's going to allow you to pay. So you can also pay over the phone or in person and mail it in. Lots of options. You can also use your troop digital dough. I have a note saying that the cookie dough should be getting dispersed by next week, so you should be able to start using that then. Girl digital dough cannot be applied to TAC payments. The girl must first individually submit the girl digital dough redemption form, and then have that money contributed to the troop if they want to use it for TAC. So how to do that is here. I imagine there's probably been some other information about how to do that, but you need to convert the girl dough and add it to the troop dough, so you can do that. Once you've got that all converted over, you can input that information and let us know how much money of cookie dough is going towards your balance. Okay, so then let me see if I can put something in here. Then you can put your final balance in here. So you'll add up what you've put in, and then it'll give you all the options for how to pay. So you can select, I want to pay now with PayPal. You can call customer care and pay over the phone. You can come into the council shop and pay in person. You don't owe anything, you have enough cookie dough, or I need help, please contact me, and then somebody will get a hold of you and help you out. So we're going to do PayPal just so we can try that. And then that roster that you filled out, you can upload it right here. So you just browse your file, pick whatever you want to pick, except using, I think, a publisher file. There we go. So you can upload that there, preview your answers, make sure everything looks good. You'll also get a kickback of this when you're done. Make sure you've got all the activities you wanted. Beep, beep, beep. And then you can submit it. Okay, so I've got a fake PayPal kind of thing. They'll let me in. I can sign in, pick however I want to pay. And this is a really important part, that at the very end, you click return to merchant, because then that will kind of finish the whole transaction. Debbie and some members from customer care will be kind of monitoring these, and they'll see if something hasn't been completely processed, and then they'll be able to kind of nudge it through if needed. So that's how the jot form works. Let me get back to the PowerPoint really quick. So after you submit your jot form, you'll get a kickback email. And it will look like, oh, this on the right. Hold on to this because it will give you all the information that you put in, but it's nice just so you can double check your activities and make sure you haven't, that your schedule looks correct. So I'd hold on to that and bring it with you to camp. Because when you get to camp, we'll give you your schedule and there's going to be 12 other troops on it. Sometimes things get a little mixed up, so then you can double check your schedule and make sure everything looks correct. Debbie will also get this kickback back, and she'll be able to double check it and make sure everything looks good, and if there's any problems, she'll be able to get a hold of you. On to camp docs. So we're using it again this year. So if you guys came to any sort of the council camps last year, you already have a profile. And if they're going to do more than one council-sponsored event, they only have to fill out the form one time. So it will kind of consolidate all the forms into one spot. So they don't have to repeat like the kid's name multiple times or any repetitive information. She just has to put it in once and then it's all in there. Some of the biggest questions that we have about this is what if somebody didn't get the email? So first, double check spam, but if the person doesn't seem to have received the email, have them email customer care with the information. So-and-so didn't get her email, because we can go in and double check and make sure the email was sent, or we can double check the email that it was sent to. Sometimes we mistype the email. So just send us the girl's name and then the email we should use, and we can double check that and resend it out. And then if there's any issues that are more camp docs, like technical, like they forgot their password, they can't log in, anything like that, there is a little spot on the camp doc website where it says like, we can help you, and then you can click on that and that will help you. Support button. Adults also have to fill out some paperwork. There might be a couple spots that might not relate to you. You can skip it or just put NA in it so that it will completely fill things out. And then we'll be going through camp docs every week and resending emails to people if they haven't filled out their camp docs. Okay, so real quick, we're just going to go over the lodging and accommodations at camp. So most troops will stay in platform tents. As you can see, they hold 4 people. They include cots and mattresses. And each tent unit also includes a shelter house with picnic tables, a refrigerator, plugs. There'll be at Stonybrook, we have walkie-talkies down there. You can bring a power strip with you if you'd like to make sure to charge multiple phones at the same time. There's also oases down in the tent unit. So this is where you can like wash your hands, brush your teeth, all that kind of stuff. If this is your first time in a tent unit, something that's kind of fun to do is to have a toothbrush party. A lot of troop leaders like to bring glow sticks or things like that with them. So put your glow sticks on and then you kind of have your toothbrush party and brush your teeth and go to the bathroom and stuff like that as a big group before going to bed. Another nice thing about Stonybrook is that all the tent units, you have to come down the hill and pass the pool house's bathrooms before getting to the units. I always recommend have everybody like use the bathroom at the pool house first before going into the units. And it just helps with people that might be kind of apprehensive of latrines. Oops. So here is a picture of latrines. Most important part is just making sure to keep the lid closed. If you keep it open, it gets kind of smelly, but make sure to keep the lid closed. And you should be pretty good. Some troops, again, like to bring like the glow sticks and kind of decorate. I've seen a couple troops that will bring like bath mats and kind of put them in the latrine area to make it a little bit more homey. There are 2 lodges at Stonybrook. There's a couple more lodges at Libbey. Daisies and Brownies have priority over the lodges. The lodges have bunk beds and sleep anywhere from 16 to 32 people. They include indoor toilets. There's a small kitchenette with a refrigerator and a small living area. It is important to note that these are not air conditioned, so they can get pretty toasty in the summer. Stonybrook keeps a couple box fans in each lodge that you can use to cool down the units. You're more than welcome to bring some of your own as well, but you cannot like daisy chain extension cords, so you can't plug an extension cord into an extension cord and kind of run that all through camp. Our ranger does not like that. Okay, so that's the lodges. So this is Itman. Staff live on the left side, but then there's some room on the other side for troops. And then this is Juliet Lowe at Libbey. Really quick, we are still hiring for the summer. So we're looking for a sports specialist at True Adventure Camp and looking for 2 or 3 more junior instructors for the summer. So if you know anybody that's interested, you can have them reach out to me and I can get them more information. And as well as we're still hiring for resident camp and day camp in the Loveland area. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and break for questions. But if anybody has anything super specific that they need to ask, you can go ahead and email us. I'm Tori, so I'm Stonybrook, and then Elizabeth is for Libbey. But I'm going to go ahead and get into the question log and start answering any questions that people might have. Remember, May 17th is when that job form and the payment and all that kind of stuff is due. Okay, let me see if I can get into my questions. Where is it? So one of the questions was, can you go over again what should be in the day pack for the first day of camp? So that's going to be like your water bottle, swimsuit, towel, bug spray, things that you could need on a day-to-day basis, or when you're at camp, sunblock, sunglasses, but definitely your water bottle, definitely your swimsuit and towel, so you don't have to rummage through everything else. Can we pay with a debit card over the phone? Yes, you can do that. You'll just call customer care and do that. We cannot have more than 1 swim time for troops. We have 15 or so troops coming to camp, and then we also have to plug in canoe trips and stuff like that with our lifeguards, so that's just not something we can accommodate right now. So the canoeing age is cadets now. Activity is based on the grade level they're going into in the fall. Stonybrook gets pretty decent cell phone reception. There's a couple spots that are a little more difficult. I've had Verizon and I've never had any problems with the reception at Stonybrook. I know Libbey has a really spotty connection depending on your service provider, but I've never had a problem at Stony. Yeah, for the troop time activities, the junior instructors or staff will come down and help you with those. During free time, does the troop need to bring supplies, materials, if working on specific badges or crafts during that time? So if you guys are planning on working on anything specific during that time, you'll have to bring your own materials for that. A lot of troops for like me time after lunch will actually try to encourage the girls to like lay down and kind of relax. But if you want to do anything kind of outside of the programming, you can bring your own stuff. How do I get the doctor physical document? I believe when you go onto Camp Docs, there's a spot where it says download the physical part, and then when you download it, you can take it to your doctor, have them fill it out, and then upload it back onto Camp Docs. But if you have any more questions about that, get a hold of Elizabeth. Since it's resident camp, she has a little bit more of how to work with that. How do you know if you have cookie dough to help pay for camp? This will depend on the troop. So if as a troop you've decided that you're going to use your troop cookie dough to pay for camp, you could do that. Or if somebody has individual dough, you can ask them if they'd like to use that to help pay for camp. And then you would transfer it using the form to your troop account. How do we know if financial assistance is granted for a girl that has applied for it? You should have received something from probably Debbie or customer care that lets you know about that. But if you have questions about a specific person and if it got awarded, get a hold of Debbie and she'll be able to know. Oh, that's a great question. If we have a girl cancel, how do we account for the deposit made for her on the final roster? So sometimes you'll have 10 girls when you first sign up, and then by the time you fill in your roster, you'll only have 8. So you can just go ahead and put a note on it that 2 girls, you know, are no longer coming, and that $10, $20 will roll back into your payment. For rotating adults, there is not a designated time for check-in, check-out. They just go to the office, and if a staff member is not in there, there'll be a sign that says to call the camp number, and then we'll get there to check them in. Snacks or food from home. Troops are definitely allowed to bring snacks or anything like that from home. Some people who might have more severe food allergies will bring their own substitutions and stuff like that. There's refrigerators in each unit. And if there's anything they want to keep up at the dining hall, there's a pack out fridge as well. Just make sure to label it. What time does TAC end on the last day? So if you are coming to Stonybrook, the 4-day session ends at 10, and then the 3-day session ends at 2. When do we get login info for Camp Docs? You should have already got that information, received that login info. Double check your spam. If you don't see it in there, go ahead and shoot me or Debbie an email with the name of the person who didn't get their login, as well as the email you want us to use, and we can double check that for you. When does Debbie send the jot form link? So tomorrow morning we'll get this taken out of sandbox mode, and then we'll get you the link hopefully by tomorrow so you guys can get in there. When entering the activities on the jot form, do they need to be entered in any particular order? No, the only one that says that you should is canoeing, but you can just kind of plop them in. Some people have like specific, you know, we'd really like to do this activity at a certain time. If you have something you really specifically want at a specific time, you can just write a note of that, but you can just plop it in there, and then our program director will just kind of work on where they can plug it in. So at Stonybrook, we'll have about 7 troops swimming at a time. If you have another troop that's added to your unit, we send out the information for who else is in your unit, so you should get an email just so that you know there's another group in there. If you want to talk to them and kind of sort out anything, you'll get their information of that troop leader. Will we know when our girls complete camp docs? This one is one we're still working on, trying to find a way if we can share certain information so that you guys know who's kind of completed what or not. We're still working on that. But if you have a question about a specific person having completed it, send Lulu, Elizabeth, or I an email, and we can kind of double check to make sure that person has completed their camp doc form. And then the week before camp, I go through and I double check to make sure that everybody has emailed or has filled out their camp doc, and then I'll shoot them another email, and I'll let you know as well if they haven't. Just double check and see if we have any other questions. Okay, I think I've answered most people's questions. If anybody else has one, go ahead and write it in really quick. And then if you have any other specific questions as well, you can email Lulu or I. And there's our email address again. Okay, I think that is all for questions right now. So again, if you have any other questions, feel free to shoot me an email or Lulu, depending on who your camp director is, and then we will get this downloaded and up on the website, as well as getting that JOT form link sent to you. You guys all have a good evening, and we'll see you guys at camp.